is our main concern and most widespread issue for today with the storms that are rolling through. Could see frequent lightning. Of course, that can be dangerous in itself. Gusty wind. And the concern here is that we have such a saturated ground, so the trees are more vulnerable to falling, especially in central and western Massachusetts, where we saw a lot of rainfall with the last storm that moved through last week. So this could lead to some power outages, although the wind's not particularly strong. It's enough that it could break down some trees. And then, of course, there is that low risk of a tornado, a potential spin up. And we're already seeing signs of that with this system that's moving through in New York at this moment. So the rainfall forecast, let's start with this. This is the most widespread issue here, as we're talking about a likelihood of 2 to 3 inches of rain. With how saturated our ground is, it only takes 1.5 inches of rainfall for us to get into a flash flooding situation. So with a forecast that calls for 2 to 3 inches, you could see why we are concerned for that flooding risk. There's areas of 84 here that could see over 4 inches of rain. This is a spot where locally we could see over 4 to maybe even 6 inches of rainfall locally. So that is the area of greatest concern, although all of us pretty much in this flood watch, with the exception of far southeastern Plymouth County and moving on to Cape Cod and the islands. But this is in effect through 2 o'clock in the morning. So we have several more hours of this. Radar is starting to light up here. Let's take you in because we're starting to get wet along much of our Mass Pike travel. Boston's starting to see some of these soaking showers moving in. They were over Quincy earlier. Mass Pike moving out toward Framingham is wet. But notice as we move into the Marlboro area along 495, that's where we have some of the heaviest downpours. And that's actually extending out toward Rutland at this moment, where I'm seeing rainfall rates actually over 2 inches per hour. So this is a very heavy downpour that's developing through much of Worcester County. Springfield, moving your way up 91. We're dealing with another soaking downpour. This one has been parked in place for several minutes here, so that one's really producing some wet roadways out there. Lightning and thunderstorms with the main line that is right now parked over New York. This is the line that we're going to be tracking all morning, and I'll track that eastward with you for several more hours here. We have temperatures right now in the mid to upper 70s, but of course, with all the clouds in place and this high humidity, it does feel warmer, although we're topping out in the upper 70s for most spots today. So it's not a particularly hot day, but it's enough heat and enough humidity that these storms will get some fuel. So let's take a look at our timeline. We moved toward 8 o'clock this morning. That line that's parked over New York, moving its way slowly towards central Massachusetts, and it continues to move slowly eastward toward 495, potentially seeing some of these thunderstorms touching Boston through late this morning. But notice how the line starts to lose some strength as we move toward the mid-afternoon. Still that threat of downpours, but it does appear that that potential for severe thunderstorms will start to decrease. It's more of a flood risk as we travel into this evening as that line pushes down into southeastern Massachusetts, and we'll see that continue to shift off the coast. We will see things